Hi everyone. Um, I've been wanting to make this video for several weeks now, actually, but I didn't really know how to bring it up or what to say until the last minute. Right now, it is the evening before my open heart surgery. I'm going in tomorrow morning for a triple bypass. I have a left main artery that is 100% occluded or blocked. And I have two other smaller blockages on the left side of the heart below that 100% blocked area in the left main. It's been quite a few months here. I got to share my story, so I'm going to just start from the beginning here for a minute. I am 49 and a half years old. It is 2025. It is the evening of March 19th, 2025. And I was born in 1975. Anyway, that just to give you a little background. I am a independent trucker. My diet is less than ideal. I don't really exercise in the last 5 years, 5.5 years since COVID hit. Yeah, and maybe I can share more about that later if I feel like it, but I really let my body go, and I ate terribly for the last 5 years. I was under stress. We all were, for obvious reasons: politics, rioting. I live in Minnesota, suburb of St. Paul. That was an embarrassing few years. I'm still embarrassed of this state, but I don't want to get into politics tonight. I grew up here. I love this state. It's embarrassing right now. I was angry at what was happening, and I was stressed out. I had ordered a new semi truck to the tune of $180,000 and I took delivery of it just as in April of 2020, when the markets were starting to fall and the government was shutting businesses down, and you had essential workers and non-essential workers and so forth and so on. And the trucking industry, the logistics industry, really slowed down for a couple months there before it ramped up and went gangbusters for 3 years, maybe more. But we didn't know that at the time, so it was a big roller coaster. And I had taken delivery of my new truck in April of 2020, not knowing if I was going to be able to make the big payments on it, right? But I did it anyway, and I just went forward. But point is, lots of stress, ups and downs, angry, sad, embarrassed, stressed, not exercising. When the market went up in summer of 2020 and stayed that way for 3 years, it was all hands on deck in the trucking industry. My customers were, Rick, we need you to buy more equipment. We need you to hire more drivers. We got the work for you. On and on and on. I held off on all that. I didn't get wrapped up or worked up into the times are so amazingly good right now in the trucking industry. Let's all go into debt, and let's all bring on more employees and more assets and equipment and stuff like that. I just stayed the course, stayed myself, and knew that what went up was going to have to come down, and it has. But while it was up, I ran my backside off. I worked hard. I worked 6 days a week for 3 years. I rarely took time off, and I overworked myself. So back to the health real quick. this past fall, 2024, right around Thanksgiving of 2024, I I was home on a Friday night, and I had laid down to go to sleep. I was watching some YouTube actually, and felt a little chest pain in my left side here. I had been feeling some minor, very minor chest, heart, what have you, um, tightness, sensations since summer, maybe late spring of 2020. I'm sorry, 2024. Um, you know, I'm not really overweight, maybe 15, 20 pounds overweight. Um, just didn't think much of it, maybe indigestion. I was stressed, angry. I'd get it. It's called angina, right? I was getting what I now know is called angina, um, on and off. It was sporadic. There didn't seem to be any correlation to any activity or anything I ate or anything like that. So now I know it's what is known as unstable angina, which is a little more mm, worrisome, dangerous. I don't know if that's too strong a word. It's a little more worrisome. Um, because it's unpredictable, right? Versus stable angina, which comes on every time you go up a flight of stairs, or you get a little bout of it every time you um, eat too much, or you ran too far, or you just kind of exerted yourself a little bit too much. But I don't have that. I can go up and down stairs. I can do um, some activity, and I have no chest pain. But I can drive down the road doing nothing and having been doing nothing for a couple hours, and all of a sudden I get the, oh, what is that? Or I can lay down, right, to go to bed at night. It's, ow, what the? On a scale of 1 to 10, it had almost always been around a 0.5 to maybe a 1.5. That particular night in November of 2024, it was a 2, maybe a 2.5. It was noticeably more painful than I had been, but again, not, um, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't move, or I have an elephant on my chest or anything like that. Long story short, I went to the emergency room the next day, drove myself to the emergency room. Excuse me. And um, that's how bad it wasn't the night before, right? It was bad enough that I'm like, whoa, this is not normal. It did go away after maybe 20 minutes or so, but yeah, sometimes you feel an ache or a pain, you get scared, right? So I it was one of those times where I you pray to God, and you're like, you know what, I am lazy, I am tired, I just got into bed, it's cold outside, and it's not terrible pain. So if you let me wake up tomorrow morning, God, I will go to the emergency room, even if I don't have pain. And that's what I did. I did not have any pain when I woke up the next morning. But I did get out of bed, and I took a shower before I went to the emergency room. And while I got out of the shower, I um, had a sensation in my left jaw and the back of my tongue area. It felt like Novocaine was wearing off. Like maybe I had just left the dentist office, 15 minutes earlier. It wasn't full on Novocaine or numb, but it felt like, man, I think my Novocaine's wearing off as you're driving home from the dentist. That was kind of the sensation. But I got dressed, and I went to the emergency room about 5 miles away, checked myself in. They got me in right away. The pain in the jaw and the tongue was pretty much gone by that point anyway. That wasn't around much more than maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But I mentioned that to the emergency room. They hooked me up to EKGs. They did x-rays. They took blood panel. I forget if there was anything else they did, but I was there for like 4 hours, 5 hours, right? While they ran tests and made sure I was okay. And I was feeling actually normal. from the time I walked into the emergency room to the time I got back out. So they didn't have a lot to go on. They just had me telling them what I've been telling you so far. And they sent me home with a clean bill of health, right? Well, you don't show any signs of having had a heart attack. You're not having a heart attack right now. If you have any pains again, come back. But tell us about your family history. So I told them a little bit about my family history, and maybe I'll share that in another video. But they said you should, you're 49. You should have started a relationship with a cardiologist. So they gave me a referral, and I reached out to them, to the cardiologist, a week or two later in December, and that started a series of some tests, right? First, I met with him in person in his office. He just put the stethoscope on my chest and on my back and asked me some family history and my personal experience as to, what's been going on since Thanksgiving, and kind of sent me on my way. However, he did want to set up another test. He said a stress test wouldn't do us much good unless you're having pain. Then we can see what's going on. But he's like, I don't know. It probably wasn't a heart attack, but let's do a CT scan. So we set up a CT scan. And come to find out, the CT scan, the results come back that the cardiologist got a cardiac surgeon to look at the CT scan as well. They believed at that time, this is around December, 18th or something like this of 2024. They thought that maybe I had a congenital anomaly, a birth defect, where they believed from the CT scan results that I was born without a left main artery, and that because my heart has a large vessel, collateral would be another word for it, from the right side of my heart, the right artery, all the way over to the left, that is what's feeding the left side of my heart. My right artery is feeding 100% of my heart through a couple vessels or collaterals. But they also, it's very rare. They had heard of it, being born without a left main, but in 25 plus years, a cardiac surgeon has never seen it. The cardiologist has never seen one. And the cardiac surgeon actually shared my information, my case, with another cardiac surgeon at another hospital who had 30 years experience, he said, that she had. And she said, yes, I've heard of this, but I've never seen one. It's very, very, very rare. But if this is what's going on, yeah, he's got just a little bit of plaque on the right side and below on the left, but nothing in a normal heart we would even do anything about. Just go home and try to clean up your diet and change your lifestyle, exercise. So then, okay, well, I've known this for 5+ years now. I got to get things back in gear. But just to make sure, cardiologist said, I think we should do an angiogram. January 3rd, 2025, I went in for an angiogram. And they completed it successfully. That was not a big deal. If you're concerned about an angiogram, it is an evasive in that, for me anyway, they went up my right artery, my wrist, and you might even be able to still see right there's the darkness. It's a little bit of a scar. No pain. Not a big deal at all. Mild or whatever sedation. You're lucid, but you're not. You're there, but you're not there. You can kind of that you're being worked on, but you're not feeling anything. Cardiac surgeon comes out after the angiogram, says, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is you actually do have a left main artery. We found it. You were not born without one. You have one. Problem is we did not see it on the CT scan because it's 100% occluded or blocked. And the only reason you're alive and not in the emergency room right this minute with your chest spread open is because you have two collaterals. He called the one robust. It's very large. On the CT scan, even it looked like maybe I was born with it. It looks as large as a normal vessel. It looks like an artery from the right, and it goes across my heart over to the left, just below the blockage. And that is how the left side of my heart is getting blood. It's getting it from the right through this collateral. I said, I never heard of such a thing. He said, yeah, it's not rare, but it's also not common. He said, some people's hearts will grow a collateral. He said, and it happens when he believes, in my case anyway, the left main was becoming more and more occluded, right, closed off, and it's mostly soft plaque. It's almost all soft plaque, so it's fairly new plaque versus hard plaque, which is calcified and has been around or has been in your artery or your vessel longer. He told me, between 5 and 7 years, he thinks maybe this artery started closing up, And when it started to close, my heart immediately began to compensate for that restricted flow by growing a collateral from the right over to the left. It's another vessel. And I guess this also happens in other parts of your body, your legs, your neck, your wrists. Your body can grow collaterals. Exercise, stress, can stimulate that growth. Not everybody's body does it. Mine did, thank goodness. He said, but the other thing is a lot of people, when they have a collateral growing, the collateral may not reach all the way over to where it needs to connect. It's like a natural bypass is what it is, right? It's another way that oxygenated blood can get from one part of your heart over to another. And most people do not grow them, and the few that do are the collateral usually won't make it all the way to the other side in enough time before the patient has a heart attack, right? Or if it does make it all the way over, it's so small and kind of puny, it's not doing enough to prevent a heart attack. Mine, he said, is very robust. He's like, it's one of the largest ones I've seen. And he said, honestly, looking on the imaging, he said, it looks like a vessel. That's how big it is. He said, but I promise you were not born with it. So over the last 5 or 7 years, my heart grew this collateral, which is amazing considering I wasn't exercising or giving it the nutrition it needed to really do it efficiently, or as good as it could. So I've been very blessed with this. And he sent me home. He said, believe me, if I thought you were in danger, we'd already have you in the operating room. But I think you should look at a bypass surgery to go around, open up that left side of the heart. Because right now, 100% of your heart is being fed by the right side. And that's not normal, right? And he said, so you had 2 ways to feed your left side of your heart, and now you have 1. He said, I'm going to try to keep that collateral open. And the other one, I have another smaller one too, down below that even. And he said, I'm just going to go around that blockage and get things flowing again. And he said, that's why you were having that chest pain, that angina. He said it probably was getting around, 90% occluded or so over summer, and now it's blocked. He's like, we can't do a stent. You can't do a stent when it's 100% occluded. I don't know how open it needs to be in order to do a stent, but it needs to be open to get a stent in there. He said, so we're going to have to crack your ribs and go in. So I've been nervous about that the last 4 months. Planning for this. March 20th is the date we're doing it. Tomorrow morning, 5:15 a.m. I check in. And yeah, tonight I gotta, they got a protocol. I gotta take a shower tonight and use some special antiseptic soap that they gave me at the hospital and wash a certain way. And then sleep on clean sheets, clean bedding, and then get up again before I go to the hospital and shower again in this, doing this certain protocol with this antiseptic soap. You wash yourself twice each time. So you're kind of washing yourself 4 times, 2 different episodes, 2 different showers. Put on clean clothes and head to the hospital. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow morning. I want to share something with anyone who might be worried about this. This is before my surgery now. I am very nervous about the recovery, right? Especially the first 24 to 48 hours. We're talking breathing tubes, catheters, drainage tubes out of your abdomen, tubes coming out of your neck, electrodes coming out from under your armpit. Yeah, I'm pretty nervous, I gotta be honest. But I'm much less nervous tonight, and this is what I wanted to share. I am a believer and a member of Christ Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to be specific. I have been my whole life. One of the ordinances, I guess you could say, taught in the gospel of Jesus Christ is the power of sacrifice, specifically through fasting and prayer. And my family and some of my friends, and actually, according to some of my friends, some of their friends who I've never met, at other churches even, not the same denomination as I am, have been told about my procedure coming up and my apprehension about it and concern. But my family, I have 5 brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 6. I have 3 little brothers, 2 little sisters. And our mom had passed away 2 years ago yesterday, actually. March 18th, 2023, she passed. But she was faithful till her last breath. I was there with her during her last breath. Last few hours, actually. Several hours. And our dad is still here, right? They decided to do a family-wide, if you will, fast and pray specifically for me and for the surgeons and the anesthesiologists and the nurses and everyone that's going to be involved with this. I'll be in the hospital for, 4, 5, 6 days, maybe 7, if there's complications. But I know that they know that I've been very nervous and very stressed. I have not been sleeping. Hour a night, 2 hours here, whatever. And then I'm up all night long and all day, terrified of the dark, terrified of this evening, the night before this surgery. But here we are. They were praying for me. And I testify to you that prayer and fasting and prayer, for a specific reason, for a specific cause, is what I'm trying to say, works. And you do not have to be a member of a particular church or be particularly clean or righteous or what have you. You have direct access to our Lord and our Savior and His Father, our Heavenly Father, through prayer. And when you add in a sacrifice such as a fast, giving up food consciously, purposefully, to show humility and reverence to and faith to our Father in heaven, he answers, he responds. And today which is the day before my surgery, I have been very calm. I've also kept myself busy. I've been cleaning my house, getting ready to come home from the hospital. I want a clean house when I come home. So I've been busy and keeping my mind active by physically, dusting, vacuuming. Yesterday I went grocery shopping, just getting things ready, doing laundry, what have you, has helped. But whether I did that consciously or unconsciously, because it may have helped me calm my nerves, it calmed my nerves. In other words, the prayers and the fasting have been heard and have been answered. So I do give thanks to my Heavenly Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, my Lord and my Savior, because they've not only helped me in other parts of my life, they have absolutely helped me in the last few months with this. And when it really counts, they are here with me now, right? I also give thanks to my family, because, and when I say family, I want to be clear. They're siblings, right? My father and my siblings, nieces and nephews I have too. I got 12 nieces and nephews. I'm not married. I've never been married. I don't have any children of my own. So when I say family, I'm still talking about my immediate, family from when I was young. They've all been raised to believe and to know, and I know that they have testimonies of this because we talk about it, to know who we are, what we are, and why we're here, and where we're going, and where we came from, and on, who's God, and why does He care about us, and why should we concern ourselves with Him, and so forth. But I'm very grateful that they are still active in their faith and willing to use an ordinance that's been around for thousands of years to call upon our God to help me. I pray for them. I participate in the fast as well. Side note, I did fast for 50 hours. Now, there's nothing in the Bible about how long you have to fast, or, the longer is more important, or that's not why I say 50 hours. That was more of just a data point when it comes to health and, how did you prepare for the surgery, but I did fast for 50 hours. I did just eat. Let's see, I got a report to the hospital at 5:15. The surgery starts at 7:15. They don't want me eating before, within 8 hours before the surgery. But I did 12 hours before the surgery at about 7 o'clock this evening. I did, after a 50-hour fast, I did have maybe a cup and a half, 2 cups of cold tuna salad. I wanted the protein. It had olives in it, some healthy fat. Excuse me. Had some macaroni in it as well, macaroni noodles. So not the best quality noodles, but, got some carbs. I was concerned about blood sugar dropping. Per my new sister-in-law, McKenna, who's a nurse, she suggested, you might want to, I don't think fasting is bad, she said. You'd probably be just fine, but, tomorrow morning you might have some pretty low blood sugars if you don't already, and that might cause some issues. So, and I was hungry, so I broke the fast and gave thanks for the peace that I've been given, and had a cup or two of cold tuna salad. Maybe a little nauseated at first. 50 hours is a long time, but that's gone. I'm fine. The reason why I went that long is I was actually considering not fasting, I was considering fasting all the way through the surgery, knowing that even the first 24 hours I probably won't be eating anything, and maybe even 48 hours, not much of anything, if, other than maybe some ice cubes or sips of water, the first 24 to 48 hours after the surgery. But I thought, with a sternum being cut open and titanium medical grade baling wired back together, I don't know if I really want to go number 2 or feel like I have to go number 2, the first couple days after this surgery. So I wanted an empty digestive system, not just an empty stomach. But I did have a couple cups of cold tuna salad. Anyway, we'll report on that tomorrow. Try to log some of this. I haven't really posted any videos, but I'd like to start doing that. And I thought, well, this is a really good experience. So many people have posted videos that have gone through this or something similar. Maybe they're having open heart surgery for a different reason. I'm only having a triple bypass. Some people going because their valves aren't working properly or have failed. Some people going because they've had an aneurysm. Some people going because they need a bypass or they need everything worked on. Whatever it is, you got to open up, and that's nerve-wracking, and it's dangerous. It's also scary, very scary, and painful. So I've been watching these videos, and I'm so grateful that so many people shared their experience, because I'm the type of person that I don't want to know everything. Like I haven't watched any videos of a procedure, right? In the operating room. I can't handle that. But I've watched a lot of videos of before and after the surgeries and the recoveries. And so many people have given awesome content that it made me think of some precautions and some things to prepare for. For example, one of the videos I saw the other night, mentioned at the 2-week mark, he was posted a video at the 2-week mark after his into his recovery, and he said, "Man, if I would have known then what I know now, I would have went and bought an electric recliner to sleep in." Everyone's talking about recliners and how you kind of gotta sleep and stay in a recliner for a couple weeks. I mean, you can't lay flat on your back for the first few weeks. Couple weeks anyway. It's very uncomfortable, and you can't sleep on your side, and it's very boring, and it hurts, and so on and so on. But he said, man, it's hard to get out of a manual recliner. So it got me thinking. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had one yesterday. I went and bought a power recliner, one of those fancy ones that actually stands you up, right, if you want to get out of it. So I'm excited to use that. Plus it has heat massage. But I'm going to sign off here on this one. Maybe get a couple winks. I doubt I'll sleep at all. But I do need to take those showers and do those protocols that the hospital wants me to do tonight. And tomorrow morning, I'll get up probably around 4 a.m. Leave the house about 4:30, be there about 5:15. Thank goodness I haven't had a heart attack. Heart's not damaged at all. Valves work, electricity works, blood flows freely, or it flows in the directions it should be flowing, and so forth. Pressure's good. But I do have this blockage, and I've been blessed with a collateral. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, I would have dropped dead. Maybe around Thanksgiving, maybe last year, who knows. But it's amazing, our bodies, they're so fragile, but they are very resilient as well. If you give them what they need, and you have enough time to do it, give them enough time, they'll heal. That's what they want to do. So I'm going to have to start changing my diet, get back to exercising. Just for a reference, I'm about 5'7", 5'8", and I'm coming in at 195 tonight is where I'm at, 195. So I'm probably am a good 20 pounds overweight. It's all in my belly. I'm probably pre-diabetic, to be honest with you. Definitely insulin resistant, I can tell, just by the shape of my my belly, because I don't have fat anywhere else. I used to have a lot, more muscle and stuff, but it's all wasted away in the last 5 years. I haven't used it. So, time to get back on track. If I wake up tomorrow, which I plan on doing, yeah, it's another opportunity to make some changes and go forward and try to dial some things in correctly. I'll tell you, being slapped in the face with your mortality, as a man anyway, women deal with it too, I'm sure, but we're different creatures. I think other men can understand what I'm saying. When you're slapped in the face with your own mortality, it's nerve-wracking, to say the least. I mean, it can throw you for a loop. It did me anyway. So, love you guys. Have a good night. We'll check in maybe before the surgery. I'll do a little video. Otherwise, after the surgery, when I get my bearings and figure out where my phone is. Have a good night. Talk to you later.